Recall that a firm in a perfectly competitive market sees a perfectly elastic demand curve. That is, it can sell any quantity at that price. And so price also equals marginal revenue. Now, when we look to the monopoly, it perceives the market demand curve. So if it wants to sell another unit, it has to decrease price. Now, marginal revenue no longer equals price. Let's take a closer look at this. So we've got our cost curve, same as a perfectly competitive firm, only this time the demand curve is downward sloping because we're perceiving the market demand curve when we're monopoly. We've got our cups of kombucha. Now the demand curve here, the downward sloping, this column represents price. So if we want to increase the quantity sold, we need to be decreasing our price. Now we can calculate our total revenue. So revenue is going to be price times quantity. So in this case, it's going to be the 1270 times 400, which gives us $5,080. And so we can complete that column. Now, the thing is, price no longer equals marginal revenue. So let's take a look why. So marginal revenue is going to be the change in revenue divided by the change in quantity. So when we go from 0 to 400, our revenue goes from 0 to 5,080. So we see that our marginal revenue, at this point, it is equal to price. It's equal to 1270. Only now we need to reduce the price in order to sell more. And so what we find is that the marginal revenue now decreases at a faster rate than price does. And so when we graph that, we see that the marginal revenue curve lies to the inside of the demand/price curve. Now again, we want to maximize profits where marginal revenue equals marginal cost. And so we look for that point. Now we still want to maximize profit where marginal revenue equals marginal cost. So let's put in our costs. Keeping in mind our marginal cost is going to be the change in cost divided by the change in quantity. So in this case, it's going to be the 4,017 minus the 2,216 divided by 400 minus 0. We complete that column. Now we can take a look at our marginal cost and our marginal revenue, and we see that they are equal at $2.70. So this represents the point on our graph where the marginal revenue equals the marginal cost. And in this case, it's at a quantity of 2,000. And then from here, we draw our line up to the price line or the demand curve, and that tells us the price that we can charge. And in this case, it's $7.70 as shown in our table. We can see if we do calculate the profit, that this indeed is the price and quantity that maximizes profit where marginal cost equals marginal revenue. Now we can show the profit on our graph. So if we take the price, which is $7.70, multiplied by 2,000, this green area represents revenue. Now we find the costs off of our average total cost curve. So if we're producing 2,000 units, the average total cost is this point here. We can draw our line over. So everything below that represents costs, and so the area above the costs represents profit. Now, because there's no barriers to entry, firms get to keep the profits in the long run because no one can enter, forcing price down. The short run and the long run, there's no difference with a monopoly.